welcome to the Art of Control. My name is Simona Cipriani, and today I would like to show you some of the exercises that we normally do on the Reformer and the Pilates studio here. And we have received a new piece of equipment from Gratz industry, and this piece of equipment is called the Archive Reformer, and it's basically a celebration of 50 years of anniversary for the industry. And I just wanted to indicate some of the differences between this piece of equipment versus the other piece of equipment that we normally get, which will be like the other four reformers that we have there behind ourselves. I have Elaine here with us, and she's going to walk you through the basic exercises. So we're going to start with the footwork. So come all the way down and sit to the end and face me. Place yourself in the middle as we normally do. Lower yourself down and bring your shoulders right, the shoulder blocks. So the shoulder blocks in this piece of equipment is slightly lower than with the one that we have over here. So you could see a little bit of a distinction. I don't know from the camera, but from here you could see it. Come up a little bit more to the shoulder blocks. Good. Excellent. And then we also have another small differences in terms of the handles. These handles are done with a little bit of an angle, which is really great for the arms and the hand position. And I'm going to show you that when we actually get into the 100-liter one. Okay, so let's make sure the shoulder stays nice and open, lengthening the neck nice and long there. And we're going to start with the footwork. So nowadays they actually have created a different kind of padding for the foot bar, which is really great because this kind of material is not as thick as the other ones we had originally over there. So it gives you a lot of more friction, and it's a little less padding, so it's easy to hold onto it with the hand, and also gives the feet a little more feedback in terms of the position. So I like those quite a bit. So we're going to start with the footwork, and I'm going to actually add a third spring for you, Lynn, okay? So you're going to use your powerhouse as usual and extend everything out long and come back in. So the reason why I like this for Elaine, but also for more basic people, and also some clients where they might have some issues with hips or knees, I like this piece of equipment because the bar is actually a little bit lower, and the angle of the bar is a little lower than what we have on this end. You know, so this is also great, but this is a little gentler on the hip joint, knee joint. So you know, for like I said, for some of the clientele we have, it's really good. Let's go right into the arches and press everything out long. Pull it all the way in. Also, the springs that we have in this equipment is a little bit lighter than what we usually get. So obviously people can order the lighter setting, but I like to work with lighter springs, just a little tiny bit more, so that they have to work a little bit more on the way in, right? So if you don't have too much tension, then it's nice to be able to have your own body and work with your own muscle to be able to pull that carriage back home. So it's easy on the way out. It doesn't press too much on the shoulder blocks. It gives more ability to open up the chest and not feel like tremendously pressure, especially if somebody's very delicate on the upper shoulder area. We have a little bit of those bones sticking out, so that's a very nice place. So it's not overly pressing too hard here. The cushion is very nice on the shoulder blocks too, right? It's a little bit softer there. And now we're going to go down to your toes for tendon stretch. So you reach out long, and then you lower the heels and keep them together, and lower, 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 and lift, lift, lift. So that's what basically is concerned on the footwork. Come all the way back home, lift up first, always finish well. That's it. Very nice. Good. Bend your knees into your chest, give it a little hug. So we're gonna look at the 100 now. I'm just gonna do a lighter spring for you because we're gonna probably talk a little bit about it. And let's look at the position of the wrists in compared to the actual arm. So keep your arms nice and long and straight, long fingers. That's it. Take your arms by the side of your hips, Elaine. Reach long, and let's do the 100. So you just keep doing, but you're pumping by yourself. Inhale, and then exhale. Scoop in a little more. Make sure the legs a little bit higher. So, and I don't know if you can see it from the camera, but I want to indicate this, that it's a little easy on the wrist. Sometimes the other handles are really like annoying because it, you know, it just hurts somebody's wrist over here. We also have ordered some of the actual straps with leather straps or leather handles, which is also another way to go. These are actually my favorite ones, but those that come with the reformer are really good. And it's definitely better than the one we used to have before. Again, some people will prefer maybe the one we had before, but they're a little, to my taste, it's a little bit too rounded and too heavy. So this, how does that feel to you?
Good.
Good. And come all the way back in. And good. Let's step off to the side, Elaine. We're gonna just go into the stomach massage series, and the stomach massage is, as I mentioned to you, going to be really, really good for hip issues. So come around. So if you have an older clientele or someone that has a problem with hips and knees, I'll show you how easy this part is on this reformer. Come right in the middle, a little closer to the edge. Good. Excellent.
Okay.
Yes, perfect. And we're going to keep it on 2 springs for Elaine just for today, because I just, you know, it's something that we want to demonstrate for now, just talking about the position. So the position of the knee and the stomach massage, it's already complicated and difficult for most people, especially if we're talking about basic person. But if you see the actual angle of the knees into the hip joint, and also the ankles and the feet in compared to the knee, you could see that this is a possibility for her. In other words, it's difficult and it's challenging, but it's not really hurting and not gripping the front of the thigh, because it's a gentle angle. And let's just do a few. Out and down and up and in and out and down, and work your core, right? So now I want to show you like a difference. Come all the way in. Stay right there. If I would be in this reformer here for Elaine, it might be a little bit more difficult, because that angle would have to be a little bit more in this position. So even that tiny little differences of this versus that makes a huge difference for her. And you could see, and you could feel, right, the difference. If it's a higher, obviously it's a little more challenging and maybe a little bit too much for the hips. Now, if I'm rehabbing, or if somebody's coming back from rehabilitation program and working with one specific leg, we usually do something like this in the Pilates method, where we're working with one leg only. So press out, and then you lower it and lift and come in. And this is also a little bit easier on the hip joint and the knee joint, so that I can actually teach this exercise to her here, and she's still able to do it. Again, you know, maybe she could do that on there too, but it's just a little bit more challenging in that position. So this is great, right? Do you feel it a little bit more?
Yeah.
On the hips, yes. That it's not so tight and not, you know, you don't have to work so hard to keep it there, right?
Right.
And you can step off to the side. Good. So there also is something that I really love in terms of the box. So we have the short box series, we have the long box series, and I'm gonna have you right over here, Elaine, sitting right over here at the front. I'm gonna add an extra spring for you, because as we mentioned before, these springs a little lighter, and the actual tension of the springs, it's lessened. So when she does the short box series, I like to put 3 springs on so that it stays a little more secure, so the springs don't come undone. and you're going to hold onto the handles on the side here. So the handles are also really nice. They are a little bit more easy to lift so that she's able to hold onto the box. Sometimes the handles in some of the boxes are not so flexible, so you can't really lift them up. But for people, small people like us, right, Lane? We need them to be lifted. So make sure that the hinges are not too tight. So bend your elbows to the side, roll slowly down into the low back, really focus in there, breathe out. So see, she's able to actually go. Oh, she loves to do by extension, by the way. So we're gonna let her go. And then you come back up. Okay, so but she's able to do it this way because she can hold onto the handles, be able to open the knees to the side, so don't get stuck in there. And now she can actually go into an extension, which is fantastic for her. And then she still be able to help herself in case she really needs to use the arms. Versus, you know, if you do it with a hug position, sometimes it might not work for everybody. So I love the fact that she's able to hold onto those handles and really get into the extension that she loves to do.
I do, yes.
So how do you like this piece of equipment?
I like it a lot, yes.
Good.
There really is a difference in the stomach massage.
Yeah.
I thought it was me. I thought I had gotten better, but now I realize it's the
And it is
equipment.
you, absolutely, absolutely. That's very good. So thank you very much. I hope this helps to make a better judgment in terms of what kind of piece of equipment you want to choose for yourself.
I'm Elaine, and I've been doing Pilates now for probably approximately 15 years. And I started because when I was much younger, I couldn't straighten up. I bent down to pick something up, and I couldn't straighten up, and I got really scared at that point in time. I was probably around 52, and it seemed too young to have that type of back problem. So I went to my first Pilates class. I didn't really know anything about Pilates, and it was a tower class. I came home thoroughly exhausted, went to bed, and didn't realize how weak I really was. And so what I love about Pilates is that it really helps you with your flexibility. And that's essential as you get older. And it really helps you get stronger in a very relaxing and sort of comfortable way, so that you get stronger and you're not even realizing that you're getting more strength. And I have really bad posture, and Pilates helps me with my posture. It helps me to be more cognizant of how I'm standing, and it opens me up, and it's helping me because obviously as you get older, your posture becomes worse. And so that's why I really am committed to Pilates. And I really love the studio because it's classical. And I think that it's very different from the other modalities. And I've tried them all. So I really like the classical way of doing the Pilates.
And what's wonderful about teaching a committed student like Elaine is that you can still see how the body reacts and how it changes, and she's still growing, and she's still progressing in her not only flexibility, but I can feel when I work with her about the structure of the bone. Even the bones, seem still like really strong, and the circulation is getting better. So it's just fantastic to see that no matter how old you are, you can always get to use your body the best way, and to continue to progress. So thank you for teaching us also.
And thank you for teaching me. Yes, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you for being here.